Hey everybody, I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I have probably worked with hundreds of agencies, if not over 1,000 agencies, and I keep seeing the exact same destructive, repetitive patterns over and over and over again. What I'm going to cover today is not just about identifying what these problems are, but understanding really how these problems are creating a death spiral in your agency and then how to fix it. Because if you don't fix it, then you're just going to continuously go down this death spiral. Now, I recognize that what I'm going to cover with you guys is only going to probably resonate with about 1% of the people that actually watch these videos, while the rest of you probably just, come here to feel like you're being productive and I don't know, maybe, feel like you're doing something with your agency when you're really not. So I understand that. I want to try to push you guys to realize what you're doing wrong. But at the end of the day, the only people that are going to actually apply what I tell you in these videos, the same thing that I charge clients thousands and thousands of dollars for to work with them in one-on-ones to cover this and how this applies to their business. The only way you're going to pay attention or accept anything that I tell you is if you realize what you're doing is wrong, hurting your agency, or just downright stupid. So for the rest of you who understand that there's ways to improve, let's go ahead and jump in, okay? Now, let me paint a picture of what I see every single day from agency owners, right? They wake up, check your email. Maybe you're going to build a website for one client. You're doing ads for another client. You're managing somebody's TikTok for someone else. You're running a cold email campaign over here. You're trying to set up a webinar over here. You're trying to learn how chat can make content over here, right? You're stretching every different direction, right? What's happening is that you are not focused, right? This is problem number one that I see, if I can get the Zoom going in right, but you're just not focused. And I see this all the time. I hear this like age-old advice, which is, start general and then get specific. And it's could not be worse advice out there if I tried. But it basically says, you think that you should sell to everyone because then at least you'll get a client really, really fast, right? Just, hey, cast out a wide net of who I can work with, come work with me, right? And then whoever you get is whoever you get, right? There's no structure to who you want to work with or how you're approaching them. So what happens is you're closing consistently bad clients. And here's what I mean by bad clients: lazy, cheap, needy, bossy, attitude, slow to pay if they even pay, price shopping, jumping from person to person, looking for some golden ticket that they themselves won't even know if they, had it dropped in their lap, right? So what happens is you don't have a good experience. And so you basically want more clients or different clients. So you just go right back to step one. Hey guys, I'm looking for A, B, and C, right? And the clients that do stay with you, or the horrible clients that you close because you need the cash, it just gives you a worse experience over and over and over again, right? And so you go through, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. You go through this desperation cycle or spiral in client management, right? You're chasing any client you can find because that's what people tell you. That's what people who have no idea what they're doing tell you. Or people who are maybe like, maybe they're hitting like 10, 20K a month because they've just taken all these loser clients, not even considering their margins. They're just telling you, hey, you should do the same thing, right? And then you attempt to sell to everyone because you have a lack of experience and a lack of focus. You're just closing any client that you can. It goes horrible. So you attempt to sell to everyone. You have no focus. So you're chasing any client you can. And it just repeats over and over and over and over again. I see this so many times. And what happens is that you're just so worried about closing these deals that you never develop any expertise because you're so focused on getting one more client, because your clients are either leaving you like, left and right, or they're just such nightmare clients that you're just having a horrible time working with them, right? Even if you nail down this process, what's going to happen, I have another video coming out on this, which is talking about the mathematical argument for specificity in a business focus. But even if you nail this down, more areas of expertise means you have more experts, right? So you need a website guy, an SEO guy, an ads guy, a design guy, a branding guy, right? That's going to be more staff. More staff means more overhead. More overhead means lower margins, right? And I can tell you one of our clients, I'm going to call him Mike for this example. It's not his actual name, but let me just call him Mike for this example. He was running one of those like full service agencies where they were just like, oh, here's our cheesecake menu, like pick whatever you want. And he was doing, everything from SEO to social media to ads to email marketing, Like it was just all over the place, right? And it was taking any industry he could, right? He was working like 60 to 80-hour work weeks, barely breaking even. And when he came to me, I think when I found him, he had like this post and he was like, oh, I'm making XYZ money. And then he DM'd me and he was like, yeah, there's like no profit at all. Like I'm about to like start doing work for one of my old bosses because I can't even put food on the table, right? It was that bad. And so what we ended up helping him do was just nail down just doing SEO, SEO and sales systems for auto detailing, right? And within 3 months, he started making more money than most doctors make after like 8 to 10 years of med school, right? And if you ask why, the answer is very simple. He got really freaking good at one thing, and then he got rid of everything else that was distracting him. And there's a great book on this called Built to Sell by Warlow that you can read. Great book. And it explains this exact thing, right? So you have to focus on one area of expertise if you want to have good margins, a great offer, which we're going to see in the next problem, and if you want clients that are not going to just be lazy, cheap, needy, bossy, and horrible to work with, right? Now that leads us to the second problem. If you're not focused, your offer isn't going to resonate with anybody because you don't have a focus at all. So how are you going to make a good offer if you have no idea who you're servicing, right? So because you're unfocused, you have no idea what to offer or what not to offer. You don't know where to even draw the line. Because you don't know what to offer, you're offering anything. And because you're not an expert, you have to offer it at below market rates to clients that we've already established suck, okay? So to get new clients, you have to offer more for less, or you have to charge or change your offer more often than I change my underwear, which, just in case you're wondering, is 1 to 2 times a day, right? You're changing your offer so fast because you have no idea what to offer, and you don't even give yourself time to test it, right? So this is one that people argue with me all day long on. And every time I ask them, how's your business going? Like, how are your financials? All of a sudden we get crickets and silence, right? If your offer sucks, it's because you're not focused or you're just not talking to your clients. That's it. So what happens is you're probably sitting there and you're offering, comprehensive social media management or full service digital marketing solutions, right? You're way too wide horizontally. So you're working with every industry possible and they all have different problems and different solutions to those problems. And you're doing way too much vertically. So vertically would be like your SEO, traffic, websites, conversions, back end systems, your coaching, you're doing all these different things. So a lot of services to way too many people. That's basically what's going to end up happening, right? And again, what's happening? Because you are consistently closing bad clients, the lazy ones, the cheap ones, the needy ones, you start losing your mind, right? When you're working with bad clients, you start thinking, I'm the problem, it's me, I'm a loser, blah, blah, blah. Like other people are doing it, but I'm not. It's got to be my fault, right? What you need to understand is that good clients who understand value, they're not attracted to these bargain basement level pricing and these halfway thought through offers, okay? They need something that is unique. It is in depth. It is developed. It is from an expert that they can trust, right? Now, here's what a strong offer might look like, right? A strong offer, this is something this is an example of an offer I have with one of my agencies. It would say something like, we help lawn care and landscaping companies double their client lifetime value through proven sales systems in 90 days or less, right? So something like that. It's just a clear offer. There's no fluff. There's no buzzwords. It's just a clear outcome for a clear audience and a clear process, right? That's it. Now, let's say you don't develop your offer. Here's what's going to happen. When you do develop those really snotty clients that we talked about, because you're desperate to make it work, right? You start doing what the client asks you to do. Now, here's the problem. You're not getting paid employee wages. Employee wages would be like, $3,000 a month, right? $4,000 a month before, taxes and benefits get pulled out, right? So what happens is you're saying, oh, I'll close this client for 300, 1,000, 1,500, right? And then they are having you work like an employee of theirs, but now you're just making pennies per hour. You're making pocket change per hour, like horrible payment, because you're letting the client tell you what to do. But the client doesn't know what to do. So you start failing because you're doing what the person who has no idea what they want to do or how to do it is telling you what to do, right? But it fails because you do what they do and you do what they tell you to do because you're trying to keep them happy because you have no process. So you land a loser client. The loser client says, go do this. You go, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You go and do it. It doesn't work because they have no idea what they're doing. And then they blame you and you are over here struggling. So what happens? You go back to the beginning, trying to find more clients, trying to find more You're just basically scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to move from crap client to crap client to crap client to crap client. Now, here's the main thing that you need to understand. If the client knew what they needed to do, they would have never hired you in the first place. If the client had the solution, why are they even coming to you? Why are they even asking you, hey, can you do ABC for me? They should have gone to Fiverr. They should have gone to Upwork. They should have hired somebody internally, but they came to you. So clients are like children. They love structure and they're not always right. Oftentimes they're actually wrong 90% of the time. That's what I've seen, right? Now their pain is true, it's real, and that's what we want to address, but the path in which they want to fix it is almost always wrong. Again, if they were right, they wouldn't need your help. So you basically have two options here, which is number one, follow the client's lead. What's going to happen is you're going to appease the client. You're going to keep the client happy in the first couple of weeks and maybe even months of working with them because they're seeing that you're doing what they've asked you to do. But on the flip side, they don't know what they're doing, so they're going to have really, really bad ROI with you. Now, on the other hand, they're going to say, hey, can you do A, B, and C for me? And you're going to tell them something like, you know what? I love this idea, but let's stick to the process. Trust me, let's go here. And then I'll let you know when it's time to kind of have your input. Okay. Now, are they going to be maybe a little upset or a little disheveled in the beginning? Sometimes, yes. I'd even say rarely, yes. Oftentimes, more often than not, they actually love it. They actually love it because if they come to you and they say, I have an idea, and you go, wow, that's a great idea. They're going to think to themselves, well, if I had the idea, why do I need this guy? Why do I need this girl? Right. But if they come to you and they say, I have an idea, and you go, it's good, but let's take this part and move it here, and let's move this here, and let's slide this down the timeline, and I really need to make sure we do this first, and here's why. Now what they're seeing is they're saying, oh, I made the right choice because this individual, this company, this man, this woman is leading me and showing me as they lead me. That's somebody I can trust, right? If you go to a doctor and you're like, hey, doctor, let me tell you to do the back surgery. The doctor's going to look at you and be like, why are you, like, what are you talking about? Let me show you, let me explain it to you, but here are your options, right? That is going to be a competent doctor. That's going to be somebody that you feel comfortable basically cutting you open during surgery because they've walked you through exactly what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and why they're going to do it that way, right? That's what you want. Now, when you let the client dictate your strategy, you are setting yourself up for failure. They hired you because you are supposed to know better than them. If this is supposed to be your area of expertise, again, that's not going to happen if you are not focused. So once you are focused and once you have an offer that ties to their pain points and to their dream state, you need to act like you know what you're talking about. We want to look at the client management strategies, right? And this is just something that really helps with telling your clients what to do. As you go, you're not going to be an expert overnight. That's perfectly fine. As you go, you want to start with just learning to say no until you have like a proven process. So you want to say no. You want to be able to explain the process verbally. So this might be more of an oral conversation versus something that's more written. And let me see if I can bring this image over here. There we go. And let's make this bigger. So again, when you're low strategy or low strategic alignment and low documentation, so this would be you starting out, you just want to learn to say no. You want to learn to explain the process. So a lot of it's going to be verbal and oral and written communication via SMS and email, right? Now, as you progress, you should be moving from a low documentation state to a high documentation state. So this might be, as you're working with your first, what I cover in SASO University, SASO 5.0 is we cover those guinea pig clients and creating your SOPs. So if you want to create an SOP, you're basically just documenting what you're doing as you do it. I use a software called Descript for screen recording, or you can go over to tango.ai. And this is a basically like an SOP walkthrough software. So it's pretty cool. And then of course, the more that you are establishing case studies and proof of concept, and the more that you're becoming focused, what happens is your strategic alignment is actually going to increase because they're going to have a better understanding of what you're doing, why you're doing, and how you're doing it. And so then again, you will have a clear, documented process. If they really like what you're doing and like you've really sold yourself well and it's still in the early stages of your business, then again, you just want to stand firm on your expertise. You've got to really put your foot down. You can do that in a nice and gentle way, but you need to put your foot down, okay? Now, the real solution, if you really want to understand the real solution, is going to be building a process that borderline prints money at great margins. So you want to make sure that as you're doing this process, if you're following it the way that I'm telling you to follow it, and I've got more content on this coming out, but this is basically going to be your process, the steps you need to take to building a profitable agency model, right? So number one, you got to niche down. I've had people argue with me all day long. Again, you're unfocused. You're just unfocused. I see that all the time. Usually when I see the people who are successful without niching down, usually they either niche down in the past because they just went one level deeper than the market, or they're going to hit this cap of like 15,000 a month, maybe 20,000. But once they start going past the 15,000, their margins just get absolutely brutally demolished, right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to niche down. Now, really quickly with niching down, pick a community to serve. If you say, well, I'm niching down by creating courses, the second that AI or technology replaces your ability to do that, you're SOL, okay? You're done for, you're out of luck, business is dead. So, and if you don't believe me, go listen to Sam Altman talk about how he thought businesses were going to use AI versus how they actually used it. Go listen to him, don't listen to me. So niche down by a community that you want to service. That way, as technology advances, they will come to you being the mouthpiece, being the waterfall that is spreading information down, and they will come to you. So then you can always add more and more because you're serving a community. Then you're going to ask them about their problems, their desires, ask them about everything they want to do. Use their words. They're going to tell you what they like, what they dislike, why they want to work with you, what they want to see. You can use their words for copywriting material because, again, that's your target market, and they're speaking in a way that other people in their target market, in your target market, probably speak, right? As you go, you want to hypothesize and test your thoughts, and then you want to templatize whatever works. We have I've got partial ownership in a lawn care and landscaping systems agency, and so we build out our product. And what's funny is we get a new client and we add like a piece to it, but the development for that product for every new client, it's maybe 2 days because the client comes in, we deploy the system, we listen to the onboarding call, and we make our little tweaks, and we're done. Full-fledged system in literally 2 days because we've templatized. Now, the first client, it took like 30 days. The second client took 15 days. The third client took like 10 days. The fourth client, 2 days because we've tested and templatized. So now we can sell fast, fulfill fast, and our overhead is extremely lean. As we're going, we're documenting everything. So we're building these really, really strong case studies. These case studies are going to compound over time. It's not like, oh, I got a case study for gyms and a case study for restaurants and a case study for, in-flight missile repair. No, it's a case study for lawn care landscapers, lawn care landscapers, lawn care landscapers. So who do you think lawn care landscapers are going to want to go to? Me or the guy who's all over the place, right? And what happens is once you do that, then you start seeing a profit spiral because everything starts compounding on itself. You start having the case studies making it easier to close. The sales process is more perfected. The messaging is more perfected. The ads are more perfected. The offer is more perfected. The community is more perfected. The support is more perfected, all around a specific market type and a specific product for that market type. So it's very, very easy once you get it up and running. And it makes it so much easier when clients actually approach you for you to have that $1 million mindset shift and to really project that onto the client, right? Remember, the client is the focal point, but they're not the boss. The analogy I always use is like a child, right? I have a daughter. I love my daughter. She's the center of everything that I do, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to do everything she tells me. I'm not going to give her a lollipop for breakfast, right? Because she's the center of what I want to do. Your clients are very similar, right? And this is not about being arrogant. It's about being effective and actually doing them what they need to have happen. If you do what they tell you to do and it contradicts your process, you are doing them a disservice. If your product and your process is really good and you believe in your heart and in your soul and in your mind that you can do a good job, then you are doing them a disservice by letting them take control. So when a client comes to you and says something like, well, can we try this new thing I saw on IG? Your response should not be, yeah, sure, I can do that. Your response should be, hey, I understand that you want to grow your business. Our proven system has helped ABC lawn care companies, ABC gyms, ABC restaurant owners increase their retention by Y%. Let's stick to what works, and then I will let you know when there's room for customization or preferences or things that we want to try out. Let's hit these goals, and then let's come that, right? But you do not deviate from your proven process. And if your process isn't proven yet, you cannot improve what you're not measuring. You can't measure if you're not testing. So you've got to test. You have to come up with, I think this will work. Let me try it. Let me study it. It did or didn't work. Let me understand why. Let me repeat until you have your process, right? Just look up, scientific experiments and hypotheses, right? The literal flow chart they do, right? This is not because you're being stubborn, but this is because anything other than you putting your best foot forward is a disservice to your client. And if you don't believe that, then you're not trying hard enough. You're not being hired to take orders. If they want that, they can hire you as an employee and you can go back to working 9 to 5. And that's perfectly fine. That's 100% fine. But you are getting hired to get certain results. So what are your next steps? Your next steps are really simple. You want to pick your industry, but pick it based on problems that you can actually solve. Do at least 10 interviews with potential clients where you're not pitching, you're just listening, you're interviewing. I have all this stuff in SASO University, by the way, but if you don't want to join, perfectly fine. I'm just going to tell you right now. You have to listen to what they're telling you. Next, you want to document every word they're saying about their problems, because that's going to be used as copy, as agitating statements to find more people, and you want to work around those problems to create your offer. Next, step 4, you want to build your offer solving their biggest pain point, their most obvious pain point, or even their highest ticket pain point that's really preventing them putting money in their back pocket. 5, you want to test your solution with one client. In SASO, I cover this with about 3 to 5 clients. I call these your guinea pig clients, and I show you scripts and everything on how to close them, work with them, communicate with them. 6, you want to document everything. Like I said, when we're documenting, I use Descript for screen recording, or I use Tango.ai for walkthroughs of SOPs. 7, you turn that into a repeatable process, because once you've documented it, you yourself can hand it off to team members so you can free yourself while they start executing. And if you really document it well, you could put a literal monkey in the driver's seat, a pet dog in the driver's seat, a complete moron in the driver's seat. And if they can follow your process, you have a good system. You have a good documented SOP. Number 8, you never, ever, ever, ever deviate from what you know works. It's just that simple. Again, this is not theory. A lot of people might disagree. I couldn't care less. This is not theory. This is exactly how I built my agency. This is exactly how I built several others. It's exactly how we teach agencies that build it, even without our one-on-one help, because they're in a group setting and they learn on their own. And I understand that this is probably not what you want to hear. Sometimes, like I said in the beginning of the video, you have to have this mindset of, if I were right about everything, I would have a lot more money. So if you're not right, and if you're not making a lot of money, then you're probably wrong, okay? That's your only option. So once you can accept that you're wrong, it takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders, and you can say, oh, let me go and try to find what works. This is something that I know for a fact works so much easier. So you need to stop trying to please everybody. You need to stop spreading yourself thin. You need to start running your agency like an actual expert that people will respect and pay as such, okay? Now, if you want to learn how to implement these changes in your agency, you can head over to SASO University. I'll link it below, and you can check out. It's a completely free program if you sign up to use the exact software that we use to make this happen, which is High Level. Some people don't like High Level. Here's what I say. High Level is a great starting point, and we use it as our base software that we then connect other software through. So if you're thinking, well, I don't like using High Level, number 1, it's extremely beginner friendly. Number 2, if you're much more advanced, you have no idea what its capabilities are, if that's what you're saying. But I digress. In our community, we break down exactly how we helped agencies just like yours go from struggling to scaling in about 3 to 9 months, almost every single time when they actually execute on the program. We have a lot of accountability stuff in there to make sure that you actually do, in fact, execute on the program. Now, let's say you're completely uninterested, perfectly fine. We have a free group that you can join, and in that free group, you can learn more. You can talk with me directly. You can watch lives, and you get a lot more value to see if this is kind of your thing or not really. Now, remember, the riches are in the niches, but only if you are solving real problems with proven templatized solutions. Now, that's it for today. Hit that subscribe button if you want more no BS advice on scaling your agency. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.